Welcome, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you all. Thank you for listening. I'm your host, Nick, joined by my trusty sidekick and producer, Rochelle.
Hello.
How's it going, Rochelle?
Man, it's just rough. I just don't like the start of the year. Can I say that?
It's been particularly harder on me. I don't know why. I feel like we took a few weeks off. I went home. It was nice to see the family.
It's like 0 to 60 here.
Really, for us, we recorded some episodes in advance, so we didn't have to come into the studio.
Right.
And then with Natural Habits, after our year end, we had some nice days off as well.
Really?
And then I left town, and it's just like, it has really taken me a while to just get the gears in motion.
It's like getting hit by a train.
Yeah. I mean, really, it's just like this mentality of like, which is literally the opposite of like new year, new me.
It's it's not how you want to start a
I'll
new
do
year.
it tomorrow. I mean, the past 3 nights, let's see, last night I had shredded mini wheats for dessert in half a box.
Oh, for dessert? That's okay.
The night before I had some ice cream. Then I had this whole time I'm like, I really want to like step it up.
I know. Well, your sister was in town. Does that like get you off your groove?
Interesting, you would think Maria would help with being her holistic nutritionist, but I feel like I was her excuse to cheat.
Oh, enabler.
So then who am I to say no when Maria wants to indulge?
Yeah.
Anyways, I hope for those of you listening, maybe if you are feeling the same thing, you feel less.
There's just too many emails.
Less guilty. You haven't really used that new Gibber membership that you'll never be able to cancel. There is that. Yeah, my email, my unread email list is always high.
Especially high.
Exponentially high. It really has affected my mental health. So thank God for BetterHelp.
Yep, BetterHelp.
But in all seriousness, people, BetterHelp is one of our favorites, friend of show. They're doing some great things with BetterHelp. Mental health has obviously become more of a trigger button or something that we are more aware of and hopefully feel more comfortable talking about it. But there's so much stress that goes into finding the right healthcare provider and and really just thinking or considering you may want to talk to a professional and then maybe going about actually doing it.
Driving there, scheduling it.
With BetterHelp, they make that process so much more easy and streamlined. You can talk to a healthcare professional from the comfort of your home through your mobile device. They will give you someone, align you with someone based off your needs. If you don't like that person, you can always switch. They make that very painless and easy for you. It's really quite fantastic. Anyways, but yes, it really is great. And I know we try to have fun with these ads and from our friends of the show. But if you really have struggled, this is something I really recommend you doing it. I've checked it out. I know I've recommended it to some friends who were really appreciative of it and had glowing reviews of it. So check it out. Best of all, is also truly affordable. The Viall listeners get 10% off your first month with the discount code VIALL. So why not get started today? Go to betterhelp.com/VIALL. Simply fill out a questionnaire to help them assess your needs and get matched with a counselor you'll love. That's betterhelp.com/VIALL. How are your socks going?
I'm wearing them today I love wearing these with these yellow shoes because they have stripes on them, colored stripes.
If it's one thing that hasn't really suffered with you being, or with you struggling getting in the new year, it's your sock game, I got to say. So
I was feeling a little, lethargic this morning. I was like, I'm going to put on my Bombas.
Did you get holiday socks for the holidays?
I got, I got these really cozy merino wool ones that I wore around the house.
And they're comfortable. They wick away moisture.
Super cushiony.
Always wick away the moisture.
Why are you trying to make that sexual?
I'm not. Was I?
I guess I'm wrong.
Was it just like a thing that just comes so naturally for me? Okay. Like Peter plopping up a girl on the counter?
Don't say plop.
Plop.
No.
Go to bombas.com/VIALL today and get 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/VIALL for 20% off. Bombas.com/VIALL. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do about this whole New Year's thing. I was planning on getting in much better shape. Not that I'm out of shape, but
how is that even possible?
I've been slacking a little bit. I feel like when I made you take that a very uncomfortable photo.
He did ask me to take a shirtless photo of him the other day.
It sucked for you and for me. We none of us liked it, but you were a team player. I really appreciate it. But I just got to say, I usually when I'm in my best shape, I just throw off the shirt. I'm ready to go. And that, not quite where I want to be.
I mean, it's just absurd to hear someone with a six pack say that. But I guess if that's how you feel, that's
it's just how it's for me. I'm not trying to be like, I'm just saying I don't feel like I'm in my best shape.
Okay.
And I've been having a little bit more ice cream 3 or 4 days a week. I've been eating a lot of Lucky Charms
What's your
at
favorite
night.
ice cream flavor?
Chocolate chip.
Chocolate.
Yeah.
Where do you get that from?
I like a good Haagen-Dazs.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not married to Haagen-Dazs, but
You're not married to anything.
I get it. Yeah. Especially my ice cream. I'm available. Any ice cream sponsors out there?
Oh no.
So
Tanya.
yeah.
Let's talk about Tanya.
We have a great episode for you coming up. Tanya Rad is with us. She is, for those of you, a lot of you probably already know Tanya Rad. You probably listen to her podcast, Scrubbing In with Becca Tilley. But we had Tanya on, and I got to tell you what a great episode we have. Tanya, her and I have a lot of similarities. We have a lot of differences. It's a fun conversation.
Yin and yang.
Standing up for all the single people out there. We've talked a lot about relationships, obviously, on this show, and we never really address how single people sometimes get a bad rap. There's a
100%.
stigma going around that if you are single and you're of age, that somehow there must be something wrong with you, especially if you happen to be single for an extended period of time. Yeah. Tanya and I, talk a lot about our history in dating. Tanya, obviously, since she's the guest on the show, shares more about her personal life, and I find it to be really enlightening and honest, and it was a lot of fun talking with Tanya, so I think you guys will enjoy that. So, without further ado, Tanya Rad. But before we jump right to her, don't forget we have some fun little merch out there. Check us out at viallfiles.com. Sweatshirts, t-shirts, phone cases, mugs. You might find it fun. I don't know. We thought we got some requests.
Yeah.
We thought we'd make it available. Check it out. Anything else to add, Rochelle?
My favorite's the pillow with your face on it.
Rochelle insisted that we have this pillow.
I made it.
Not my idea. For those of you, a girl I know actually today DM'd me a picture of it and said, "Can I have this for free?" I'm certain she was mocking me.
Who is it?
Doesn't matter.
I can take it down if you want.
I'm curious. If we get a sale, I'll be shocked. It's not that. Where would you put this pillow?
I just love putting your face on stuff. I don't know why. I think it's funny.
It's not my idea. Check it out for a good laugh. But also, some of our, some of our slogans and sayings that we've talked about on the show, you'll find on our store. So check it out. And if not, it doesn't matter. Tanya Rad, everybody. Tanya Rad, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
You look nervous.
Am I? Do I?
I don't know.
No, she doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not nervous at all. It's weird though. This is it's an interesting setup. Like it's cozy.
Oh, good.
Our setup here?
Yeah.
Yeah, people
Like
seem
I'm
to like it.
lounging on a chair. Like I'm like relaxed.
I want you to
she's
feel
used
comfortable.
Seacrest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, where you're kind of propped up on chairs. Which one do you like better?
I think I like this, but like now I feel like I might be too chill.
No,
you know what I mean?
no
Like I
such
need the
thing.
sitting up straight to like. But this seems chiller.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
I thought, Tanya, I've been thinking about having you on for a while now. We had your co-host, Becca, on a couple months ago. Becca and Tanya are co-host of a hit podcast called Scrubbing In.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And we talked, I don't even remember what we talked about.
Well, also Brad brought her up. Brad Goreski.
Well, we do share Brad. I feel like Tanya and I mean, Tanya's had Brad first.
Yeah, I would just like to say I feel as though
we're not sharing as much as I'm stealing.
Yeah, you have stolen him from me because I do feel like I was partial into introducing you guys.
You absolutely did.
Yeah.
I met Brad on her podcast.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm the what's the word?
Matchmaker.
The matchmaker of the bromance.
I rushed a shirt. I will never do a choreography dance video with Brad that Tanya and Brad do every so often.
Yeah, no, we would, and that's the thing. Neither one of us would ever do it with somebody else.
Yeah, I won't try
unless you came into it. Like we were down. Like if
like
you want
special guest.
Yeah, like if you want
pop in.
If you want to pop
that's
in,
a good idea.
we're down. But
Probably not.
We would never like do a dance with someone separate.
I am comfortable with my sexuality, and I like me and Brad to joke around a lot and flirt on Instagram. That might be really going for it in terms of if I pop up in a
You
video.
were on Dancing with the Stars. Come on.
There's a certain flair that Brad and Tanya have in their videos that I think would be required for me to go on it. That I don't know if I could really. I don't know if I could hold to their standards. I think I would only bring it down.
Wow. Well, maybe someday maybe pop in.
You should check it out. But Tanya, we've gotten to know each other a little bit over the years, and I think one thing we kind of there's some similarities between our dating lives and the fact. Are you still single? Are you single?
I am single.
Same. And you are, I feel like you're a little, correct me if I'm wrong, about helpless romantic. You,
For sure.
You definitely
Yeah.
want to, like, you don't need to, but like the desire to be in a relationship, it's there.
For sure.
Same with me. And yet we have remained single. And how long have you been single for? And I mean like public boyfriend.
Her face.
Oh yeah, public boyfriend.
I feel comfortable asking
I
her this.
know. You can totally ask
Because
me.
we're on the same boat.
Yeah. I'd say, like officially single. Oh my God, when did we break up? I was 25. So maybe like 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
See, longer for me. Well, no, I'm sorry, Vanessa. I dated Vanessa, but other than that, and that, you know, we dated. Obviously, it was real, but it was a result of being on the show.
Right. And I've dated people for like a couple
Sure.
months here and there, but I wouldn't say, and I had a boyfriend.
But yes, that was
for the that many
exact
years.
same boat. Right?
Yeah.
Certainly a couple people here and there. There have been relationships that lasted a few months. But it never was, it didn't turn into like a relationship. Like we
Right.
probably were used to having in our, in our early 20s, you meet, introduce your parents.
Right. Yeah. The introducing of the parents has not happened in a minute.
Have you ever been Instagram official with anyone?
Yeah.
You have.
Well, somebody that I've like posted on my Instagram.
Were you? Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, was that a boyfriend or was that part of the date, someone you kind of dated?
No, my boyfriend. But this was the one 6 years ago.
Okay. How long has Instagram been around? I guess longer than 6 years.
Yeah, I had Instagram in college.
I don't know. I've probably literally been on it for 6 years.
Mhm.
Oh,
For the first
I'm just so hip, you know.
You
just
are.
doing it.
trendy.
So trendy.
Why do you think we're single? Why do you think you're single?
Honestly, I think that when I was in my serious relationship and that ended, and I was such a different person then, and I thought that relationship was going to be like marriage, kids, like move, like the whole 9 yards. I have grown and I have accomplished so much on my own that I never in a million years thought was possible. And I honestly think that like God has kept me single because he wanted to show me what I was capable of that I never thought I was capable of myself.
Okay.
And I know that sounds so crazy, but I really, really do. Because I never in a million years thought that I'd be doing the things that I'm doing now. Like in terms of even just like living alone. Like I never wanted to or thought I could live alone. Like I always wanted to have a roommate and then move in with my fiance.
That was kind of your expectation.
That
you
was my
had of yourself
expectation.
when you were
Yeah.
younger.
And now I like live alone and I've never been like financially independent and I don't know. It's just like a lot of things that I've done and in my career too that I never thought I would accomplish. And I think that God's purposefully, because when I'm in a relationship, I give 150% of myself. So there's no like in between, Tanya. There's just like all in or all out. And so I've just been all out and I've just been focusing on me.
You don't think you could have done both?
I personally don't think I could have, no.
Interesting.
Yeah. Why do you think you're single still?
'Cause I'm just a mess. I don't know.
You think you're
no.
a mess?
I don't think it's God for me.
Okay.
I don't.
I always say man's rejection is God's protection.
Oh.
Man's rejection is God's protection.
He's just
Elaborate.
he's looking out from the
Because
clouds.
there was a couple of guys that like I really genuinely like, oh, that's the one. Like I was like, oh, he's the one. Oh, this is what you've been saving for me. Like he's it, you know?
Sure.
And then when it didn't work out, there was these big reasons why. And I was like, oh, okay. I was sad in the moment. And now I realize like that guy was so not for me. I would have lived a life of like paranoia and terror my whole life.
Yeah.
So like it was God protecting me by that man rejecting me.
Are you a pretty religious person?
Yeah.
What are
I would have been wild. She's like, not really. But when it comes
but like,
to
is it just like a personal?
I was like, nah.
but when it comes to dating, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much all him.
I really lean into my faith.
I give it to God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, do you go to church every week?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have
Cool.
a church and I read my devotional. I listen to worship music every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're all in.
I'm
You
all
were
in.
all in.
What
Yeah.
church do you go to?
Zoe?
Oh, that's the cool church.
Is
Yeah,
that the
my
Wednesday one?
No, it's on Sundays.
Okay.
My pastor's pretty cool. I'm obsessed with him.
Could you date him?
He's married with a lot of children, but amazing. Somebody like him for sure.
Okay, someone. So, well, when you say someone like him, I feel like you're a bit of a vision board person.
For sure.
Yes. Do you feel like that sometimes can get in your own way? I do say if there's criticism about me, is sometimes my strengths, like a lot of us, are sometimes my weaknesses.
For sure. Like you have too much of an opinion of what you want.
Yeah, because I was like, one thing I actually wanted to talk to you about are standards.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I feel like I know you well enough that you have high standards for yourself, which are great. And we actually have a lot of listeners who I sometimes try to emphasize have more expectations about the things that you want for yourself.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like I have a lot of high standards myself, but sometimes people have a hard time living up to our standards.
For sure.
How is that? Do you think that's true with you, or totally no? You just haven't. God hasn't introduced him yet.
Funny that you say that. I do think he's been introduced into my world. I just don't think it's been the right time.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. I do think that. I do think he's like in my. Yeah.
Do you say that because you have a couple
Yeah.
of people on that
No,
vision board?
no, you know who it
or-
is. No, but I read this stat and I like really thought it to be true. It was like you're gonna meet the person that you're gonna spend the rest of your life with by the time you're like 25 or
I
something.
have heard some. I've
never heard that.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've
there's,
heard
like,
something. I've heard something similar. I remember it being like there's some sort of stat. I remember it slightly different, but same topic where like 60% of the people have been introduced to their spouse by the time they're like 21 or something ridiculous.
And it's actually been panned out because I've like asked a lot of people that are married, like, and like they say, yeah, in like really random situations, they've been in the same summer camp or something like that. Like in some weird way, they did meet
there's a lot,
prior.
Yeah, there's definitely stats. I bet that's changing.
Yeah.
I think, obviously historically people got married younger and you'd go to college or high school and you
Yeah.
would just kind of get married to the last person you were in love with when you graduated high school or college. So it's changing probably a little bit, but I think there's that.
But I do think that like I'm a person that like you did say, I have high standards for myself and I hold myself accountable and I'm constantly like working on being the best version of myself. And so I do want a partner that's going to be a partner, a teammate that's going to push me and challenge me and somebody that I admire. So it's like, why would I would never lower my standards for myself. So I'm not going to lower my standards for my future partner. But I think what I do that is like self-sabotaging that I realize I'm not doing anymore is I would fall for guys that weren't either like physically or emotionally like able, like they weren't like I would fall for guys that lived in New York. And so like I couldn't really be in a relationship with them, but they would give me what I like kind of needed, but they could never hurt me. So I think I've been really scared to like let anybody in because I've been so hurt in the past.
Why are you pointing at me, Michelle?
Same for you.
I think there's some similarities where if I were to evaluate my dating life, especially the past few years, it's just like I never really bothered going there, so to speak.
Yeah, like everyone's like, can you just date someone that lives in Los Angeles? Because it was like Texas and New York and like all these random San Francisco, and I was like, why am I literally can't date you.
I like a good out of town relationship, but I even think
No, that's not sustainable.
But
not.
What I'm saying is more than that. It's not just that for me. It's like even if I were to meet someone here, I don't even like bother considering them being an option. Does that make sense?
What?
What I'm saying is I have a hard time, like if I meet someone and go on a date, but like I don't honestly know sometimes as I get older, I'm almost become,
Like you prefer your alone time?
no, it's not that. It's just like I always go back to, as you get older, you have more perspective. You become less naive. But ignorance truly is bliss sometimes, especially when it comes to love. You meet someone, you have the butterflies when you're young, and you're just like, fuck it, I love you. And when you get older, you have relationships that fail, and I'm sure I've had relationships fail, you have relationships fail. Then you meet another person, you're just like, okay. But now, you go on reality TV, you meet some people. Now when I meet someone, it's like, you're nice, you're great. I don't know, it's harder for me to get the butterflies, so to speak. So now it's just like, now I'm just kind of like dating, and it's just like, yeah, you're nice and pretty. And you see, like, I don't know, should I like you? Should we keep hanging out? And I guess in my mind, I'm never really consider really opening up, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Zola.
Get your free wedding website.
As a non-married man,
Yeah.
I find this to be a very refreshing thing. It takes the pressure for me off. I'm already stressed out enough about trying to find a partner and then maybe getting married, and then
now you don't have to worry about your wedding.
I don't have to worry about my wedding.
Yep.
They streamline the process for you.
Easier, less stressful, all in one place. You get to just pick out a design. They have hundreds of designs. You just get to pick it out, and you can create it in minutes.
Minutes.
Yeah, website.
People spend months, years doing this thing.
Yeah.
The only downside is you don't have an excuse to delay said wedding that you were trying to put off anyways.
Oh, there you go.
There is that. But other than that, for those of you who really want to get married and serious about their love story, Zola.
And you get a 20% off post-wedding discount. Plus, they have beautiful, affordable invites and paper. So you can do that all through Zola as well. And a free guest list manager.
What? It's amazing. I mean, I feel like people call off weddings over fighting over the guest list. You have a manager.
Yep.
Help save the relationship.
Exactly.
That is amazing. Go to zola.com/VIALL today and use promo code SAVE50 to get 50% off your save the dates. That is half off, people. That is literally insane. You can also get a free personalized paper sample before you purchase. That's 50% off. Save the dates at zola.com/VIALL. Promo code SAVE50. Wantable fashion is hard, so make it easy on yourself.
Subscription service, you sign up, you take a quiz, and then people pick out your clothes and send them to you.
I love it. I mean, normally, I don't like it when people pick out my clothes, unless it's Brad. But I gotta say,
they did a good
loved
job.
all my stuff. I kept it all. I was a little surprised.
Yeah, you kept all of it.
Kept all of it.
Can I tell you something? Yeah. So I got my subscription box. I wore it on the podcast. I've never gotten any compliments on how I looked. I got like 15 saying I looked amazing. It was the wantable stuff. It's because I didn't pick it out. Isn't that sad?
A little, if I'm being honest. And as much as I want to like prop up our sponsors of the show, I'm like, really? No one's ever complimented? I think your outfit looks great today.
Oh, thanks.
I know I haven't.
No, these jeans are from Wantable.
Oh, there you go. Gosh, just when I want to give Rochelle credit, it's all the Wantable. So yeah, if you are looking, if you struggle with fashion, just a little bit confused, or you just think there's too many choices out there, let them take the work out of it for you. Just tell them your wants, your desires, your preferences. They'll handle the rest. Wantable has taken the challenge out of finding the right clothes for me to wear every day. They can help you too. Go to wantable.com/VIALL for $25 off your first edit. That's WANTABLE.com/VIALL for $25 off your first edit. Wantable.com/VIALL.
Interesting. Are you letting your penis do the picking? Can you say that on here?
Yeah, you can say penis.
This is not an iHeart production. This is not an Amy Sugarman production.
You can't say penis on iHeart?
Amy likes a friendly show.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fuck shit balls.
What a shame.
Do I let my penis do the picking?
Yes.
In what?
Yes.
In your
I don't
women.
feel like that's the question for you to answer, Rochelle.
I know a little bit.
Yeah, in the women that you're choosing.
And no.
Okay.
Why? What do you? I'll ask you a question.
But isn't that okay? Don't you think that's okay?
I think
what do you
so.
mean
But
by
I guess
that
what he's saying
question?
is he's not getting the butterflies. Like maybe he's just you're going for maybe not the right girls.
Well, it all depends. Like I think where we are different is I try not to be so structured. I mean, if I want there to be initial attraction, obviously I'm going to,
of course,
be physically attracted to them. We have obviously joked around about sometimes the age of a woman I might go out with, she might be young. So let's say I meet someone, let's say I find them and I realize like, oh, you're too young for me. Would I still go on a date? Sure. Right.
Right.
I don't sit there and go, and it might say we connect, but I very much have specifically in that scenario, I'd have my guard up saying, this is just not like we're not going to mesh. I don't lie to myself about the reality of situations, but in other times, I don't know. It's just kind of stuff happens. I don't think what I'm saying is, there are plenty of women I might say find attractive that if there are enough of red flags, I don't go out with.
Right.
Because I see past the penis, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Am I going out with people I find attractive? Of course. I don't like this whole, like, do you let your penis do the picking? To a certain degree.
Right.
I mean, as a woman,
I like setups. I enjoy.
You like setups?
Yeah, I do.
Let's dive into this.
I like setups, but I just say
what do you like about setups?
Why wouldn't you like a
setup?
I hate setups.
If it's somebody that I trust and it's
gives
like
me anxiety.
If they like this person, then that's already like, okay, cool. If somebody can vouch for you, that's a major plus for me.
What do you mean by vouch?
Vouch. Like if my friend is saying, I want to set you up with somebody and that's a friend that I consider a friend, hell yeah, I'm going to trust your judgment and be like, okay, cool. If anything,
what are they vouching? That you're a match or that they're like generally a good guy?
Like when I was somebody that my friend set me up with, this was like maybe 2 years ago. And he was not like, we didn't have any chemistry. Like there was no physical attraction. There was no like, he could have been, and we had completely different lifestyles. Like the guy went out to, downtown raves every weekend and I'm in bed by like 9 p.m., No, but he was such a great guy, like truly, truly like family man and great quality guy. And I never saw him again, but I respected the setup because I was like, okay, like this is a good dude, not my dude, but a great dude.
And when you go on a setup, you don't feel pressure?
Not at all.
Interesting. I feel pressure.
Well, you have to get rid of that.
I have to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Because
I wish more people set me up.
Really? Because I just like, I have a cute friend you should go out with. And I'm just like, well, because again, not to let the penis do the picking, but I want to have the initial physical attraction. That's just one very small aspect, but it's there. And there's other variables. So immediately I'm just like, I'm not interested in your friend. I feel like I don't want to like have to say that if I'm not interested. So
because physical's number one.
No, even in general. So let's say then I go out with a friend and there's not a vibe there. It gives me anxiety. The setup in terms of, I feel bad of like, if I don't like your friend, I don't want to be a dick.
I just say like, he's a great guy. I see why you wanted to set me up with him. He's just not my guy. And that's it. And they drop and we move on.
Huh. How many setups have you gone on where it led to like multiple dates?
I don't think any.
None. Any second dates?
No.
Wow.
But not enough people are setting me up. So
how many setups do you think you've been on?
Probably like 3 or 4.
Has your audience tried to set you up? I feel like people are going to be listening and be like, I know the perfect guy.
Yeah, I feel like we tried to do, I feel like we did a setup on the morning show once. And it was like somebody that I met him at a bar and then like I never got his name. And he just like was like, we're going to this bar and come there after. So I went to the bar after and like couldn't find him. So they were like, oh, it's a misconnection. We have to find the guy.
Yeah.
We ended up finding the guy.
Okay.
And then we went out and I was like, oh.
And it wasn't good.
It's not good.
Oh.
But it's fine,
But
it's
what
like
wasn't
I tried.
good about it?
Everything.
Oh no.
Everything.
Do you have any like a story,
But I do have
an anecdote? We're not naming names.
No, it was just like sloppy.
The kissing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like just wet.
No.
Yeah.
The wet kisser.
Yeah, it was a lot.
A kiss is really a deal breaker, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your non-starters? What are your superficial non-starters?
You know what's funny is I used to have like this laundry list and now I'm just like, I don't think it's there. Like I used to hate when guys drank out of a straw.
That's specific. So the fact that she's not a list person now, like keep in mind the starting point was I wouldn't look at a guy with a straw
or sandals. I can't handle a guy in a sandal. like
Oh, boy.
like a rainbow flip flop. No, it's not for
Really?
me. Yeah.
Wow.
Again, I'm with you on both these things, so I'm giving you a hard time. But wow, if you
No,
would-
it used to be like I'm telling you, I think Tanya 6 years ago was like, I had my lists and I was like so picky and whatever. Now it's really not about any of that, you know. Like if I'm dating a guy and he, like the last guy I dated, we were like on our 5th or 6th date, so I was like in it.
okay.
And he was like, yeah, we went to the beach. We had like a picnic on the beach, and he was wearing shoes, and I was like, oh, you didn't wear, we're at the beach, and he was like, I can't wear flip flops, and I was just like, thank you, Jesus.
Really? At the beach?
At the beach, he was wearing like, what are those shoes? Not
See, that's a
Toms,
deal
but,
breaker
like,
for me, wearing shoes at the
no,
beach.
it was like Toms or like like little slides.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Tom.
And I was like, yeah, okay, I can get
You
like
think
that.
the lists were another way of you protecting yourself? Like
For
you-
sure.
Yeah.
Do you think that's protecting the list or just being too picky?
No, because then you can't get hurt because no one will
Yeah.
ever get in.
Mhm. I think I had like a big revelation where I was like, oh, this is literally what I'm doing. Like every guy that I was going for did not live in Los Angeles. And it was because I was protecting myself. Because like I am a hopeless romantic, and I'm like, relationships really, if like I let people in. And that's why I think I hold my friendships so close. Like my best friends are they're my family. I almost feel like my best friends are my soulmates, because I give everything to them. They have every piece of my heart, and like they're not going to go anywhere. Where for me, all the men in my life have been not that way.
Have you had your heart broken?
Yes,
How many times?
twice.
Twice. How long ago?
One was like before my big one was the 6 years ago one. That was like the traumatic one, and then
How
before.
much do you think those heartbreaks have defined your life?
Massively.
In
Do you
what
feel
way?
the same?
Yeah.
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 Like
In what way?
in the way that like I feel like I used to love jumping out of like my love was me jumping out of an airplane. Okay. And I used to just jump out of the plane with no parachute. I would
Yeah.
just dive in and like that's it.
Sure.
Now, from now on, for the rest of my life, I will always dive out of the plane with a parachute. I'm not that girl anymore. I think
What do
it
you mean by
scarred
that?
me. Like I will always have some sort of safety net, whether it's like
What defines a,
wall,
parachute in
like
this
a
metaphor?
wall of some sort, or like no, maybe not a wall, but like I will always have like I have 1 hour a day that's just Tanya time, and I will never give that up, even when I'm in a relationship. And like I have these things that are like just for me, like my friendships and my career, and like these things that I always used to kind of, when I was in a relationship, I used to bend a lot. Like I used to just never think about myself. I was always the other person, and now I'm always gonna have like
But I think that's great. I feel like the parachute metaphor isn't accurate.
inaccurate.
Yeah, because the parachute metaphor, it's almost like, it almost sounds at first when you just give the metaphor, it's just like, I'll always have this guard or wall up, and I won't like, I'll have this like safety net. And I don't feel like that's what you're describing. You're like, okay, I've had this relationship, which a lot of people, I've done, and a lot of
I've
people do
done,
relate
yeah.
to. It's like, you pour yourself in, you kind of lose yourself a little bit. You feel like you have to like give 100% or 150%. And I love how you use that like 150%, because a lot of people do, even though technically you can only give 100%.
Yeah.
But people literally do, because often, especially in younger relationships, you date someone who's only giving 50%. So you're like, you know what? I'll take on the other half. I got this.
Literally, it's so true.
You know? So they do that, and you do that, and then you literally lose your identity. And what you've done and what you're describing is,
Totally.
I've learned not to do that. I can be very in love. I can give 100% of this relationship, and I can still take
Boundaries.
time for myself and have boundaries.
Yes.
It's more about boundaries rather than like, I'm always going to have my guard up or hedge my
Right.
bet, because I don't feel like that's what you're doing. You're just
Right.
aware that like it's that kind of awareness of that doesn't define love. And I think what a lot we do when you're like when you're younger, the harder you love, that means the more in love you are. And it's like, yeah, to a certain extent, now it's
Yeah.
just crazy.
It's actually funny because I feel like I'm getting a lot better. Like I truly feel like this past year, I have allowed myself to date people that live in Los Angeles, that I can
Yay.
see multiple times a week, and like really develop, these short-term relationships that have failed for really not any of like me wanting them to. Like, and I think my perspective has changed on it too, because like this last guy that I dated, I was like so convinced that this was it. Like I was like, wow, like this is really it. And then we gave him
This wasn't the 6-year guy. This was some guy
Yeah,
you
this
kind of
was-
dated,
this was,
and
like,
you were
recent.
optimistic. And it
yeah,
didn't
this was
pan-
like
okay.
6. I think
How
I was
many
dating him
dates?
at Ashley and Jared's wedding.
He didn't come, did he?
No. But I was like, that was around that
Oh,
time.
that's right. You told me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that you were excited and optimistic.
Super.
Not so much?
No, I think he was great. He was like everything I wanted. He just didn't want me back. So, there's that little
Okay.
How
puzzle
long
piece.
did you date?
Few months.
And you thought he was the one?
Well, I didn't think he was the one, but I think he had the potential.
You were optimistic.
Yes, I think he had the potential.
More hopeful than, say, other dates you'd been on.
Yes. And I think what's so funny is like now, so we gave him this nickname on the show. We called him Senor Butterfly.
Cinderella Butterfly?
Senor
Something
Butterfly.
Brad talked about. He said he didn't think you should talk about your relationships on the show.
I know. And that's the thing. Everybody says that. But like I spend my life I literally spend my life in front of a microphone. And it's not that I intentionally talk about my relationships. It comes out of my mouth. Like I get excited. Like the other day, Ryan, we were talking about something and Ryan was like, oh, do you sleep with the thing on or whatever? I was like, oh, well, I had this guy spend the night the other night and blah, blah. And he was like, wait, what? Like somebody's in your bed and you're not. So things just come out of my mouth. And then I'm like, here it is,
I don't really think that matters. Do you find, has it gotten in the way?
Well, with this one in particular, I feel like he couldn't really handle I don't think it was necessarily talking about it, but it was more my career.
In what way?
I'm still trying to kind of figure that out.
What are you trying to figure out? We're good at trying to figure things out on this show.
He basically said that it was just like a different world. Like he just wasn't, he thinks I'm in a different world and I'm in a different space. So I think I took it as like, not that it worked too much, but it was just like too much of a different world for him. He likes more of a low pro. No.
Well, and are you still spending effort trying to figure it out?
No.
Okay.
But from him, I look at it more as like he was a symbol of hope, because it was like, I can find that. Like that was a good.
I totally relate to that.
Yeah.
Like he didn't work out, but for me, sometimes and maybe you can relate to that is sometimes it's like, I don't even know if I'll ever like someone again.
Right.
Yeah.
Or have those feelings. No, it's so true.
And again, it's a me problem. It's not because I'm not meeting great women. It's just like sometimes I joked. It's just like I haven't actually gotten excited about someone. I don't remember the last time I've acted like a falling in love like a young adult. If it's not like on The fucking Bachelor, because when you're on the show, you kind of just like you really immerse yourself. And even though I'm able to do that on the show, because it's like, hey, I'm here, so I'll just go for it. I'm too damn objective in real life. And again, this is not because I haven't met great women. There is definitely women I've like, really like you, and I've been processing that. But to get the butterflies that you describe,
yeah,
it's something even then I get envious of to say. And so I totally get this idea of like, it didn't work out, but that in itself is an exciting thing. And it reminds me to just stay the course, so to speak.
Yeah. And so now, like, I feel like butterflies are a symbol of hope. Like, I see them everywhere. I used to see them everywhere, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a sign. This is like my dude. Like, my dude, he's everywhere. And now I'm like, oh, it's hope. Like, hope is like, it's going to happen.
Well,
Mariah Carey. Butterflies.
Butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still taking rigorous notes from dates?
For sure.
This is wild.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I learned this when I met Brad. It was heavy.
I could pull up every day. Like, if I dated you, that was like, it was a
She has play-by-play notes of a date.
No, not play-by-play, but like, okay, so if it's a significant person, like not on a first date, but it's pretty much if it's a second or third date and I know like, oh, I want to date you, I start taking notes. So like their name and like members of their family and like their birthday and their zodiac signs and like little things that they mention that they like. And then I can bring those in like later in the game.
Uh-huh. What about...
That's so weird. I think it's so smart.
Weird.
It's smart.
It's fine. It's... is it their basic bio, or are there how you felt or what you liked or what you didn't like? Is it just...
No, it's basic information. So then I'll also write like date 1 went to like the restaurant that we went to, and then like whatever, if we saw a movie or like whatever we did on our date. So like everything's mapped out. So like if let's say, we have our first wedding anniversary and we want to go.
I feel like this is all for like...
For sure. If we want to go back to our first date, like I have it all here.
Oh no.
It's so good. Come on.
It's very practical. I mean, I can't deny that.
I don't know. I don't know
so
how
good.
I feel.
It's so good. Like this one guy that I was dating mentioned that he liked, he had like his favorite drink or whatever. And so we like cooked dinner at my place and I made sure to get the ingredients that we could make his drink.
It's very thoughtful.
And he really enjoyed that.
You'll make a great partner.
No,
Thank you
it's
so
great.
much. Thank you so much.
Would you ever be frustrated if a guy didn't share the same enthusiasm about something like that you have?
No, and I don't think I've dated any guy that does share the same enthusiasm.
Okay.
However, I have dated guys.
I feel like there's a risk there because guys would be like, "Oh, cool, thanks. Were we here? I don't remember." You're like, "Yes."
No, but I think like there's other ways too. Like this one guy was at my house and he noticed that I had this particular like flower in my living room, like a lot of hydrangeas I have. And he's like, "Oh, is that your favorite flower?" And I was like, "I just love the way they make my home feel really cozy." And so the next time he came over, he brought me hydrangeas.
See, that's the normal version of what
Exactly,
you're doing.
exactly. So he just like remembered, but now I just have a lot going on that if I don't write it down, like forget it.
I'm not an expert, but we did take the test and talked about it a little bit. Have you heard the Enneagram?
Yeah.
Have you done it? I feel like you've done this.
Obviously,
Like,
I'm
yeah.
a 1 wing too.
I don't.
One wing too. What's that?
What is that?
The
Tell us
perfection,
about
the perfectionist.
Okay, that makes sense.
it. What else? What else can you just tell us about a 1 wing too?
We're perfectionists. Oh, I haven't like looked at it recently, but it is like describes me to a freaking T. And even the things that says like you're bad at blah blah, it was like I was bad at that.
I mean, mine was.
What's yours?
3, 4. And what
3
was
wing
it?
4.
Yeah.
Yours is the activist. That's what this. I mean, they all
Me?
say different ones.
I
No,
don't remember.
Tanya.
Activist.
Oh, 1 is an activist.
Your fear is making impure choices.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
Oh God.
no, so 1s are very like
Nailed it.
moral. They're very
Yeah.
like moral and like
Yeah.
they have like a really big moral compass and they don't ever want to veer off of that. And like that's why, a lot of it comes from that. Not wanting to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Do you think? What if you met someone? There's no checklist, but they were on point. But on that list was not necessarily atheist, but agnostic. Not necessarily against anything, just not really into it.
That's
so
what
to speak.
agnostic means?
Is it?
Agnostic means you still believe in God, right?
I'm not a pro here, but my understanding of agnostic is kind of like, though I'm kind of generally spiritual, but they don't practice. I could be way off base here, so don't hate me.
So
like an atheist is my understanding is like they just
Don't
believe in
believe.
nothing,
Yeah.
anything whatsoever.
Agnostic, a person who believes that nothing is known or can be known of the existence or nature of God.
So actually it's funny when I see agnostic or atheist pop up on any dating app, I just immediately X them out.
Okay, see, you're letting go of a lot of
That's
people
half
there.
the population.
But what's interesting,
No, that's actually more like 20%.
So I
probably.
used to think that I only would want to date a Christian. Like I was very much like they have to be a Christian, and that's like that's what it's going to be. And I have come to realize that I don't like that's not such a big thing for me. If they have just faith, like if they have a faith, that's what matters to me.
But you're not going to bother with the not spiritual person. I find that interesting because there's an argument to be made about opposing viewpoints, but two believers, but
Right.
believers who have opposing viewpoints can be more challenging than say. There's a lot of stories, especially when it's more like women, the religious woman meets the not so religious guy, and she kind of brings him over to the light side, so to speak. There are a lot of stories like that. So I'm almost kind of surprised because you're so passionate about your faith and so willing and open to talk about it that like if a guy was, not into it, but slightly open-minded, that you would like.
No, if he was open-minded, like so I recently dated somebody that was Jewish, and I was if this was Tanya 2 or 3 years ago, I would have been like, no, I need a Christian. And I was like, you know what? As long as he has a faith and he like was down to come to church with me, like, sure.
What if he's not necessarily? What if he's going to his synagogue? Would you flip-flop?
Yeah.
You would.
Yeah.
Okay. But not the person who. He's
Has
so
no-
great. He's
no-
so great. You get set up and they're like, oh, I forgot to ask if he was religious. And you love everything about him. And he's just like, I'll be honest, I had a bad experience and I haven't really gone. I'm not really that interested. But if like you want me to go, I'll tag along.
I don't know. I mean, it's like you take it for what it's worth. And like if I was obsessed with the guy, maybe I would think differently. But like probably not.
Huh. Interesting. Has that come up a lot?
No.
Especially in LA. I feel like there's more people who are,
Not Christian.
I mean, you certainly have more of a melting pot of religious people in LA, and then you have people who aren't, I guess, very religious.
Yeah. I think it's just hard for me because like I lean on it for a lot of things.
No,
so
I
like,
get it, yeah.
you know, like if work's, you know, stressing me out, or even if I'm having a fight with somebody, like I pray about like everything in my life, you know?
Yeah. What if they were totally supportive, they just didn't pray? I mean, I could totally get like if someone was mocking you for it, because there's nothing
Right.
worse than that person who's like, "Oh, you're gonna pray again."
Yeah. Like that
okay,
would
buddy,
drive
that
me
can't
like,
work.
yeah.
But they were like super supportive of you and just.
I mean, maybe.
You're so good at talking about your faith to just completely chuck out guys who are like, I feel like you'd be good at bringing someone on board.
Yeah, but I feel like I need a partner, you know?
They could become a partner. You know, it's only a first couple
I'm not
days.
ruling it out. That's what I'm saying. 2 years ago, Tanya would have been like, no. Now I'm more open.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, never know.
Mhm.
I guess I will say,
But also on dating apps, like I just put X on like 90% of the
if you're gonna put it on your bio on a dating app, then you probably want them to know for that reason. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people might like have that point of view, but they don't put on their dating app.
Right. Also, like, do you have a strong faith?
I grew up very religious.
So would you put anything on your date, or would you just leave it blank?
I don't know what I am at this point. I went to church every Sunday till I was 33, 34. I served communion. I was a lector. I grew up around priests and nuns. I'm very comfortable with faith. I'm fascinated by religion. I have some questions about certain things. I question my faith, and I'm definitely, you know, as someone who grew up very Catholic and very devout and very proud of being Catholic, and to some degree, I still identify with that. I'm very interested in other religions and points of view, and I personally am not. I don't think my God's better than your God, so to speak.
Right.
And so, I'm less devout than you are. I think that's safe to say. And I question things more than I did before. Yeah, I don't necessarily think God is the reason I'm. You know, it's like I've made my choices, and so the point of view I take is, I think God's probably looking out for me, but He's just gonna let me figure it out.
But I feel like what she's saying is more like everything is for a reason. Like it's just a positive outlook where you see the good.
Yeah, there's just like a bigger picture, you know. And I think that's a lot of the choices and like things that happen to me in my life. Like I feel like you can look at something that happens to you in a positive way and a negative way. Like, why is this happening to me, or what is this trying to teach me? And I feel like I try to always take the positive route because I just feel like I
think that's great. I mean, it's just how you look at it differently.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's sometimes how you define it. I mean,
I think it's easy to sit there and just be like, oh, like this sucks. Like I don't want to be single, and like, it's been so long, and this path has been so rough. And it's like I have some freaking hilarious stories, and like I've met some weird ass people, and like I've said yes to a guy that asked me out in my car on Wilshire Boulevard. You know what I mean? And like it's like I don't know. It's just. It all adds to. They all taught me something, you know.
I'm totally on board with that. Again, it's just how you pack, you know, like how you process it differently.
And I relate to what you said. I think maybe like I had codependent tendencies, and like would just abandon any kind of like career if I was really in love. And so it probably is similar where you kind of have to separate yourself. But ideally, you can have both.
I think so too. But I was the exact same way. Like if I was traveling every single weekend to see him.
Right.
He would never travel to see me, and it was always like me having to give up work things. And I never saw it that way because I just was like happy to do it. You know.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, dating is it's always challenging, and I enjoy talking to you about it because we do have a lot of similarities, and yet you and I are in a lot of ways have our differences in terms of our personalities, and it's always interesting. To have that discussion on, you know, our own choices and why we are the way we are. We do have. It's funny because a lot of similarities that way in terms of you had a serious relationships when you were younger, and in some ways kind of codependent and define yourself with these relationships. And I was kind of the same way.
You were, and romantic.
Very, yeah. And then I just kind of took a time out, and like you, like my life. Has drastically changed since my last relationship that wasn't bachelor related. And I don't know if it was a result, but sometimes I like to have, and maybe you are the way you are too. And the question is, do you sometimes sometimes being single has this weird negative connotation in our culture.
Oh, for sure.
Why are you single? What's wrong with you?
The number one question I get asked is, how are you okay being single?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is so sad
Fuck
to me, the way that
you.
no, but not even like, fuck you. Like, I'm sad for you because I'm like thriving being single right now, you know?
Are you on a journey like myself to try to bring out the positives of being single and what they can bring you? Because there's so many people listen and talk about their relationships, and if they are single, oh, it's the holidays, I'm alone, what should I do? It's like they can't function. And
no, it's so interesting because I also think that there's like I think that we have seasons of life, and it's like I'm in this season of being single, and it's like there's so much to appreciate. You know what I mean? Like I can sleep in till whenever I want. Like on a Sunday, I can do whatever I want. Like I don't have, you know what I mean? Like I'm in this phase where I don't have like a ton of commitments to I don't have a family. Like, you know, I have my own family, you know what I mean? And like, those days are numbered because I do know it's such a desire of my heart. So I know I'll get married and I know I'm going to have a family one day. And I know that when that day comes, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, remember when I used to just like complain about being single and like, all I would love to do is get a good night's sleep tonight.
When you meet young women, I'm sure you have your young women fans or people come up to you and the people who ask you those questions about single. What are some bits of advice you give to them about like their perspective on relationships or being single?
I just think that, I see a lot of monkey branchers. And
monkey branches going from one boyfriend to another?
Yes. And it's like, I think that there's something so scary in that because I think it's really important to be able to be alone, to be single, and to figure things out on your own because I think you just make a better partner. I never want someone to complete me. I'm a complete package, but I want someone that's going to add to my life. And I think that once I find that, it's going to be like game over. You know what I mean? Like I really genuinely think I'm going to have such a beautiful marriage because I know what I can bring to the table and I know what I'm going to get in return. You know what I mean? So it's like, why settle for something that's not bringing you a lot of joy? And I know there's a compromise and I know relationships are hard and I know it's not all rainbows and butterflies. But I think when you have a better sense of self, everything's just better.
I see you in a Chrissy Teigen, John Legend type relationship.
For sure.
Right?
Me too.
Yeah.
Like,
so does Tanya.
I will take a John Legend type for sure.
I mean, listen, I love that, but that's like going to someone and like, I see you being a billionaire.
No, but it's like I see
you do?
that.
Because I do too. No, I'm kidding.
I see that for
Someone
myself.
who lets you shine.
It's like America's Couple. You're like,
I know, but that's what I see for you.
Yeah,
way to keep it real. Level-headed over here.
You know me. I am not. I'm the farthest from level-headed.
No, I know this is great.
High in the sky.
I'm really inspired by your positive attitude right now. I like it.
But it's like
I'm curious.
People will write me and they'll be like, this guy, he just did this and like all these things, and she's like, but I just don't want to lose him. I've been dating him for a year, and I'm like, that's 1 year. Who do you get to spend the rest of your life with this loser that's treating you like garbage? Like, no, I think it's so weird because people fear being single so much that they're just going to stick with being treated like not great. And it's like, why?
I'm guessing you maybe got this perspective after your heartbreaks.
For sure.
When you realize it didn't actually kill you.
Yeah. Close to it, though. I'll tell you that much.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, that happens. You literally feel like you're going to die.
Yeah.
You can't imagine living without this person.
Yeah. I mean, I like
then
it.
you do.
I've never not eaten. I like to eat. And I was to the point where I just wasn't eating for days. Like that. I'm like, I've never experienced that. Like when I'm stressed, I eat. Like I don't have the opposite effect until heartbreak. I'm like, I literally can't put anything in my body.
So you are obviously a very positive person. Have you ever had like, even now, like where you aren't so positive?
I mean, of course I'm human, and like I can get really sad. Like when that guy, the butterfly guy, ended things, like I was really sad for like a week.
So what happens? Like how does Tanya now compare to Tanya like 10 years ago?
When I get sad?
Yeah, because you're right. Like I always like, it's how you process information that changes. It's like you can't help how you feel. Like, it's not like you get your heart broken. You process it differently.
Yeah.
So like, how is it different? You know, for the people who like, 10 years ago, you're like, I may not wake up tomorrow, as opposed to like just because you're sad doesn't mean
Yeah.
you
So like
can't
I
get
kind
over
of let myself be sad for that weekend, and I just like cried a lot. Actually went to an event with Brad, just to kind of like get out of the house. And then I really was intentional about it, and I wrote in my journal, and I wrote things that were great about him and like the relationship that we had. And I kind of just like mourned it and just like wrote it out. And then that was the end of it, you know?
Very healthy.
Yeah.
Did you write down things you didn't like about him?
There wasn't much.
Oh.
Honestly.
None.
I mean, I would have liked him to be a little more mature. And I think at the end of the day, that's kind of the straw that broke
Was
the
he
camel's
younger?
back. Yeah, he was younger. And I'm like I think I need 30s plus, and he was in his 20s.
Yeah. Did he know how much you liked him?
I don't know.
Okay.
Rochelle was like, "Can I just hug you for the breakup?" But
I know. I don't know if he knew, and I don't know if he ever will know, but I really cared about him a lot.
Yeah.
And he never listened to your podcast or radio
No.
show?
I always like kind of make a deal. I'm like, it's probably best you don't listen to these things.
Yeah. Same with my family. I'm like, just.
Would that
don't.
ever work? I wonder if I would actually listen to that advice. Like,
Not
hey, I
to
talk about
listen.
you. Don't listen. Like, okay, sure.
But it's also like, what's someone going to listen to 2 hours of a podcast and 4 hours of a radio show every day? Like, no.
I don't know.
I think he would tune in, punch in here and there, but like, you know.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, they could totally be lying.
It's
to
also
me.
self-preservation. Like, if this isn't going to make me feel good, I'm not going to listen to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Some people have that. I don't know if you do.
I'm trying to honestly think out loud of what I would say 98% of the time I would be like, you know what? Don't need it. Don't want, like, but it's always like, that's a moment of weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know what
Yeah.
usually is? It's like the friend or the family member is like, hey, did you hear? I saw this thing. And they just send you this thing. And it's like, oh God, now I have to look. And then it's just like, thanks for ruining my day.
Yeah.
But you would never talk bad.
No. I never talk bad. I talk real for sure.
What's the difference between those two?
Well, like-
what if the real is bad?
Well, no. So like one time I went out with this guy and he was like, he was wearing,
Oh, no.
he was wearing like light jeans. Like it was summer. So he was wearing like cream colored pants. And I was wearing this like dress, and I had put like body blur on my legs because my legs, I'm so pale. So
Okay.
it's like body blur is kind of like
But-
tanner.
Okay.
For our date. And like we were like making out on my couch. So I had got my body blur like all over his pants. But it was like it was like really early on, and I could like see it. And he was like, what all over my pant? And I literally like, I couldn't say anything because I was so embarrassed.
You didn't
He
tell
just
him?
He sat and like,
But he went home and noticed.
I'm sure he probably thought he like sat in something.
You didn't tell him?
So like stuff like that I would share. But it's not bad.
No.
That's
That's not bad.
totally fine.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. Making out on the couch. How long before you were making out on the couch? Do you have, I feel
No.
like as a type A person, you have a defined set of rules on the stages of a dating process.
You know what's funny? I don't.
You don't?
No, but I'm a big like kiss on the first date advocate.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, because I just feel like if there's going to be chemistry, you need to like just like let's see it. Let's see if it's there.
Do you have a strong point of view on going past first base on the first or second date?
No, but I do have a strong point on sleeping with somebody.
You do. For
Yeah.
yourself or
for
everyone?
myself, just for myself.
And
I
is
can't
that
have
faith based, or is that
No.
principle? Like, is that faith based, or you think that's not?
It's
that's
Tanya based. I've done unattached sex, and I can't do it.
So
Like
what
it
does it
makes
have to
me.
be?
It has to be a committed relationship.
But that's
it's
for
been
you because of like how you
Yes.
how you feel about
So
it.
it's been 6 years? No.
No,
No.
but I mean, technically,
I wish you could
yes.
see Rochelle's face right now. It's been 6
No,
years?
because I didn't realize that until recently. Like I was.
Oh, it's
yeah,
a
yeah.
recent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
That's a good rule. It's hard, but
It's hard. Well, because I like that because it actually is about how you personally feel about the situation. It's not. What I don't like is, I mean, listen, if it's a religious reason,
Of
then
course.
it's your you're following your faith. So good for you. But if it's like this I'm a big believer on it has nothing to do with whether he's going to end up liking you or not.
Right.
So if you're holding out as some sort of tactic,
Right.
it's a waste of time. But if you're holding out because personally you just don't like how you feel.
I just need to know that you're not dating anybody else.
Yeah.
You know
it's
what I mean?
It's like a safety thing or it's just a comfort level.
It's a comfort level. And it's for me.
That's the way to go.
Yeah. Like I just don't want you sleeping with me and I don't want you sleeping with other people. Like and that takes, time to get there for guys.
Mm-hmm.
So given that, do you include that or in the define the relationship, or you're willing to have that discussion saying, hey, listen, I'm not trying to define a relationship, but I'm physically attracted to you, but I just need to know that where are you checking in there? Because I think sometimes people have a hard time defining relationships or having the conversation about sex.
Yeah.
So as someone who's as outspoken and as you are and knows what you want, how would you go about that for the people listening who can relate to like wanting to set these expectations, but how do you bring that up with the guy?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's funny because I think a lot of people think it is like an insecurity of like, I always feel like I need to have sex sooner than I want to because that's what the guy wants. And I think that's the majority of the women that reach out to me. That's what they say. Mm-hmm. But I've come to find that like guys are really respectful when you say like, look, like this is just something that I've figured out for myself. And like, I don't want to rush anything. Like I don't need you to be my boyfriend tomorrow, but just for myself, I can't have sex outside of a committed relationship. And I'm really attracted to you. And like, I'm going to need you, to respect that and just know like, we'll see where this goes. But I think like being really open and upfront about it, especially even early on, has honestly proven to be like, it hasn't been hasn't had a negative impact on my dating life at all.
That's great.
And it's been hard at times,
I like
for
hearing
sure.
that perspective. Now, you're doing this in a setting that's not necessarily sexually
yeah,
driven?
I mean, I'm not in the middle of like a hardcore makeout session.
Not that would be wrong if you do.
No.
But like, it's interesting because I think that's great to hear. And I would agree that a lot of guys out there, we've had conversations in the past that sometimes other women have had not so great experiences with guys.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah. I mean,
also
there's a lot of different guys out
Whiny guys. Whiny.
Oh, I mean, and don't underestimate the power of a hand job. I mean,
So wait.
Put that on her tombstone.
So this is the pity.
it's not pity. It's just like, there's
the pity tuggy.
there's steps.
Keep
and
the
like,
wolves at bay.
Yeah,
So how does that go about? Like, listen, if you really,
tuggy,
if you're really wanting to do this, because if this, I gotta say, I would just be like, I would be the guy, the first, just like, you know what, that's cool. And maybe that is an opportunity for me to really, really assess how I feel about you. I think most guys, and we can't speak for, like, I don't like to generalize, but I'm a big advocate in open communication and being upfront, because I do think the majority of guys, they don't want that burden. That really makes them reassess how they feel about you. If a woman says, I really want to be in a relationship and this is important to me, I think most, not all, there's a lot of shitty guys out there will just be like, you know what? Yeah, maybe we definitely shouldn't do this, but also you get the answer you want.
Right, and then you're like, bye.
I would not.
It's boundaries again.
I would not want the tuggy hand job. If she's just like, if it makes me feel like, listen, I'm not going to sleep with you. You're fine. But if you're that horny, I could jerk you off.
No, that's not how
I know you're not saying that, but it
like
would just...
sometimes you get heated and like the moment gets heated and there's other things that you can do to... That's all I'm saying.
I'd be like, no, I'm good.
Really? You would turn down a hand job?
I'm not a huge fan.
That's where it is. That's what it's about. I'm not a huge fan either. I can't figure it out. I really can't. It's too complicated.
Yeah, if I had a clear understand, I mean, again, there's exceptions to every rule, but if it's just like, if a woman's like, hey, listen, this is important to me, I want to set some boundaries, I wouldn't feel comfortable getting a hand job right after that. I'd be, let's make out, depending on how I feel. Again, also like,
I also don't approach it as like a boundary. I just say like, this is just something that I've learned about myself that.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I'm just trying to think. It was like, well, we can. Yeah, I don't. Are you making out? Is there other things going on, or is this just the hand job?
No, it's not just a hand job.
Okay.
Yeah,
not just like a dry.
No, it's not like after the conversation. Like I'm like, but I'll do this.
It's not my favorite foreplay. I'll be honest. It's yeah. Anyways, but I like the open communication. I think that's great. And I'm glad that you have had a positive
actually,
manner.
honestly, I've had a really, really positive what's the word? Response.
Yeah. And I only say that because, there's so many variables and so many people have different experiences. I don't want to be desensitive to someone who didn't have that experience, but sometimes people hear stories and then all of a
I've
sudden.
had bad.
Yeah. And that's great to point out, but it's also nice to hear the nice stories because sometimes you say, well, my friend had a bad experience, so I don't want to say something. Again, everyone has a different situation, but if you can try to have, it's nice to hear that
I'd say like the last
over-communicated and it's been positive.
The last 4 guys that I dated in the past like year and a half, I've communicated this to, and they've been like really receptive.
Have you had not receptive experiences with guys who haven't handled it well?
I had one guy that like kind of tried to challenge me on it. You know what I mean? Like he was like, "Oh, well, we'll see." You know what I mean? Like kind of like that, and I didn't love that.
We'll see.
Yeah, like we'll see how good you can hold out. You know what I mean? When I'm like, I didn't love that, but I was like, guess what? I did.
Yeah,
and I'm not dating him anymore.
Good.
Never slept with him, so bye.
Good.
Guys.
Yep.
I know. It was like, I'm going to
it.
turn you on. You're not going to be able to. And I was like, it's not quite the response, but all right, buddy.
Yeah. So you were like, I won't do. I really want to sleep with a guy I really like, and he was like,
that's so great. Like he was like, that's great. Like I respect that. And he's like, but I don't know how you're going to be able to hold out when I'm around.
I'm so attractive.
Yeah.
I was like, was he not that smart? Because again, there's a difference because what you're saying, I love because you're setting it up as this is how I feel about the situation. I just don't want to emotionally go there. And he's kind of indirectly saying, well, I don't plan on dating you, but I'm going to convince you to have sex with me anyways, which is
he's saying I don't respect your boundaries.
Well, that too, but like,
or like, I don't believe you. Like I'm going to test you.
But he's also kind of because he could say, well, I really like you too. So this is great to hear. So we'll probably end up having sex because I really want to date you. Mm-hmm. He's like laughing at the possibility.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Which is such a turnoff. And you're a smart person. You would pick up on that. Like, how could that ever work? That's different. Some guy saying, if a girl says to a guy, well, I want to wait because it's the first date and, I just don't want you to think of me this way. Like guys might be like, well, I won't. And then there's some negotiating there, but you're setting this boundary of like, I don't feel comfortable to like, I don't know. Anyways, I'm glad you've had a positive response.
Thank you so much.
That's good to hear. Well, thank you for being so open about this. I thought you'd be the perfect person to talk about relationships and single. We've had similar pals and, obviously, you have a lot of perspective and experience. So I think it's always fun to hear, especially for all the people who feel judged about being single, about going out there and their friends are like, why aren't you single? You're so nice. What's wrong with you? It's refreshing to just be like, hey, we're 2 people mostly thriving.
Yeah.
But haven't like found the one.
For sure thriving. Also 2020, I feel like is going to be the year. I'm just saying.
Yes.
For
it's
you?
going to be your year.
What if it's not?
I just feel like something big's going to happen in your love life.
For me or you?
Both.
Yes.
I agree. I see it.
Really excited about that. Tanya, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you so much for
having me. It was a blast.
It's been a treat.
I always appreciate you being so vulnerable and honest about your personal life.
I appreciate that. Because also I think too, it like kind of helps people feel less alone,
Yeah. You're a bright, shining light.
People,
thank you.
You are.
People really like to shit on people who are single. And I, for one, am just not
having it.
Not having it,
no,
man. So it's just nice to have an ally.
Yeah, bring the sexy back to single.
Yes.
So thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys for listening. As always, we do appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget to send your questions at asknick@castmedia.com, cast with a K. If you feel like leaving us 5 stars, hey, we will take it. Have a great day, everybody.